Hi everyone, and welcome back to Family Law Assistance. And guess what? If you may have watched my live yesterday, today I'm joined by the incredible member of our team, Gemma. And today we're going to be talking about very aptly titled Christmas, COVID, and Children. Hi, Gemma.
Good morning, Michaela.
So I want to know, first of all, what are you doing for Christmas this year? Have you got your trees up? Are you planning? Would you
I
want to have family round?
do you know what? I love Christmas, but we haven't got the tree up yet, just because I feel it's a bit too early, and I don't want to get into that Christmas too much of a relaxed mindset because we are already on the 24th of November. So Christmas I'll be at home this year, just with my family. We host the dinner. So
Are you the cook? I'm nosy now. Are you the cook?
no, I'm not the cook. I'm in charge of the wine. James does the cooking. James will do the cooking. I'm like the sous chef and the wine topper upper. Oh, it's just me.
I like that. I'm sous chef of the wine. Yeah, I can do
Yeah.
that. I
Oh
could.
no, no, yeah, sous chef.
And the,
I'm the wine person at the same time. So yeah.
yeah, I do a great job of just going around and topping people's glasses up.
Yeah, it's the best. That's the best job on Christmas Day, I think. The best job.
I know. I think it's interesting because when you talk about getting too relaxed, certainly what we do and what we're seeing for us and what we do, it's not really the time to get relaxed, put our feet up and get the port and cheese out, really, is it?
No, I mean, especially this year in particular, hence the title, Christmas, COVID, and Children. You know, we've seen it's been a very strange year for a lot of people, but more importantly, it's brought a lot of say tensions between couples to the surfaces. And my feeling is we're going to see a lot more applications going in via the courts in the next few weeks, really.
Yeah, because traditionally, Christmas was always that hotbed of things that can go wrong. So traditionally we've seen couples fall out because people don't, and people sort of try and hold it together, don't they? For
Yeah,
the sake of the children, they have the family get together, don't they? But because I think because Christmas has been almost brought forward, really, people have got their decks up, people have got their trees up a lot earlier. I don't know about you, but we're seeing that hotbed of people have got
yeah.
court orders that aren't being followed, that if you are in that relationship, just things going a bit wrong. I'm seeing that a lot earlier. Would you agree?
I totally agree. And I think that's being compounded by COVID. People would not ordinarily spend as much time together other than Christmas, which is, you know, a 2 week period or one day where, like you just quite rightly said, people kind of hold it together. But compounded with the COVID this year, where people have had to spend several months already together, I think this is just going to be, like you said, for some people, potentially an explosive situation coming to the end of the year that they're going to find themselves in.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally January was always divorce month because we see the fallout from divorce, for the fallout from Christmas. But let's
Yeah,
talk about children because apart from the fact that people are they're separating more, but there's lots and lots of parents out there who either have been through the court and have a court order or are just separated that are
yeah.
really struggling on both sides of that fence. Are really struggling with COVID rules and Christmases right now. So from your point of view, what do you see that honestly that things are going tits up?
It can be it can be very simply summed up. Parents need to stop acting like idiots, seriously, and let's keep it simple,
Yeah.
because COVID is not an excuse to amend the current order if you have one. It's not an excuse to amend the order. It really isn't, and the order should be followed. Unless obviously you've got a child that's very ill and can't travel due to COVID, or you know, worst case scenario, one of the parents is ill. But again, in that case, you know, you would always be looking at the best interest of the child and trying to get somebody else to drop the child off or get to that contact point or the agreed place. I cannot tell you how many incidents I've seen, how many people I've spoken to where the parent, you know, who the child resides with is using COVID to deny access. And it's just plain and simply wrong. I don't need to say any more than that. Don't be an idiot. Keep it simple and stick to the order.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, part of it's funny, isn't it? I mean, way back, I can't believe. First of all, I can't believe how quickly this year has gone. But way back when lockdown, I know when lockdown first hit, and those of you that are part of our family, and you're an oldie and a goodie, you'll have remembered that way back when. Boris Johnson gave out his COVID lockdown speech, and we were there going, oh my gosh, what does that mean for separated families? And I was jumping on here and I was doing a live, and then obviously somebody at the government realised they completely arsed up, and about 20 to midnight they changed the government website. So that's it. Video had to come down, new one up. And I think the problem, what's been happening is that people interpret the rules. Now, I get that nobody likes to think of themselves as the bad guy, and everybody likes to think that they are working and doing things in the children's best interest. And listen, we work in family law. Of course, it's controversial. Of course, it's emotional.
Yeah.
But the message that was given out from the government was really, really simple. Whether you liked it, agreed with it or not, the message was really simple in that children from separated homes should travel between families. And you and I have both seen that, we've seen parents that have said, does this apply to me? Well, what about this? What about that? What about the other? And I think for the rights and wrongs of it, the government have kept it simple, which I personally kind of approve of. You?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, keeping it simple is the easiest way. And, using a commodity of, common sense as well is really important in these situations. One of the things that the government did get very right, that the last lockdown that England's just coming out of, is they did include in that briefing, children can travel to spend time with parents. And I, for one, really personally was really glad that he'd clarified that and got that message right the second time around, and exposed that on national television as opposed to just an afterthought like it was, like you just quite rightly said, in the first lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. So from our point of view and your point of view, what have you seen the impact of children not spending time with the other parent at the moment?
I think that's a really, really good question. What has the impact been? And I think the honest answer is we're yet to see it. We're yet to see it. Other than the lack of shared parenting time, which is really, really important, I think we're yet to see the impact of this year per se. And that is definitely going to be a knock-on effect. One of the things that bothers me and some of the things that I've personally seen is the residing parents can sometimes, and not in all cases, be using that time for straight contact. So, indirect contact as well is another thing that's really important. So FaceTiming, FaceTiming, all the other bits and pieces.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just popping in because I've got somebody that's commenting. So I don't know if you can see it, Gemma, but I'm going to.
Yeah, I can see it, yeah.
All right, okay. Do you want to read it out?
Hi, Michaela and Gemma. My son, Ron's ex, has stopped all communication since September. Got him arrested for trying to see his son, calling it harassment. The last few days, she's been contacting the mother of this other child through a fake Instagram account, trying to get her on side, making allegations about him, but being very, very vague because she has no proof. Luckily enough, his daughter's mum is on our side and got the measure of her and told her for what. It's really amazing how low and how far people will go to fulfill their own needs in the name of protecting their children. We are so going to feel not having the baby around with us this Christmas. His little sister pines for him. Is that the whole of it? Have I missed some?
I think so. Let me just scroll down, make sure, because I know that this has been a hot topic for all. I think that's all of it. Yeah, I know, because this has been a hot topic for all of you. So, okay, let's just take that apart a little bit, because actually there's quite a lot in it that we see on a daily basis. First of all, one of your pet peeves, Gemma, allegations of abuse. Now, every case that we see has allegations of abuse, isn't it? So do you want to take that away? Unpack that.
So allegations of abuse generally, and again, I use this in a very light sense, generally are from the residing parent. to frustrate contact, and to, let's just say, try and persuade the powers that be it the magistrates or the judges, that they are the good cop, and the parent that the child doesn't reside with is the bad cop. Again, that whole narrative is completely wrong, because the only person who's losing out here is the child, by not having a relationship with both parents and extended family. Now, reading what this lady said, again, couldn't have, that literally just popped up as I was talking about frustrating contact. And one of the first things that parents do when they're looking to alienate another parent is frustrate contact. Typically would start with indirect contact being frustrated, followed by, when the whole process has come about, the total frustration of contact.
Yeah, and I think it's also really important to make out, because we don't, I'd say that we see a proportion of what goes out in the world. I mean, I remember back in the days when I was a debt collector that I thought everybody was the same, but actually, in truth, I only saw a sliver of society. So just want to put this into perspective, that what we see here on the daily basis, it is the crap stuff, isn't it? We see the people that are alienating children. We see where communication between parties has broken down completely. And with communication breaking down completely, of course, trust is due. I think, Paula, I think you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about people putting their own needs ahead of children's. And sometimes it's difficult, I would say, for some people to see the difference between their own needs and what's in the needs of the children. I could just see.
Yeah, totally. Sorry, I was just reading somebody else just typing now. Totally, just because your relationship with your ex-partner has dissolved and become acrimonious does not mean that child should take on them emotions and them feelings. That's the damaging bit. And going back to what you asked me, that may not be seen in the child for years to come, but it will be seen, no doubt. It will come out in some way, shape or form.
I agree. Just saying, as you have just there, hence both of us pausing. Katie Louise, waiting on my section 7 to come through today. Very nervous. Keep checking my email. It's that waiting, isn't it? You know, everyone seems to be
it's what I call the no man's land and being in limbo, especially if you're not the parent that the child resolves it. It makes people feel powerless. But one of the great things we do at Family Law Assistance is we help people to empower themselves by representing themselves in family court.
I agree, and I think, and I've banged on about this because Katie Louise, I suspect that you kind of relate to this, that feeling of just feeling powerless, that feeling of, oh my God, I feel that this is something that's happening to me, and that's not just you, Katie Louise, but that feeling is very common in lots of people that we deal with. What we do here at FLA is and I say this all the time, we turn a reactive process into a proactive process. It's amazing when your mindset flips into, oh my God, that this is what's happening to me, to, oh, hang on a minute, I'm in the driving seat and there's a to-do list and there's a plan. People's nerves go from 5th gear to 1st gear with a plan. Right, Gemma?
Yeah, but it's empowering. It helps you get a handle on your emotions, because the emotions are what will wreck it in a court situation. You've got to try and take the emotion out of it, which I know is incredibly hard through my own personal journey. When I was going through contact issues, with my ex-partner many years ago now, going back 15 years ago. But it's the emotion that will kill it, and it's good to have emotion, but you need to know when to show it and when to be able to pull it back.
Right, exactly, because the rules that you play with in court are not the same rules that you play with in reality. You know, in reality, if somebody had honestly just pissed you off, you'd either say something or, you deal with it. But then there's a way of dealing with it in court.
Yeah.
I almost did a live. And in fact, I might do a live and a blog actually about family law isn't about family law, because the forms that we used to fill in, the process, the strategy, that's one thing. And actually, that's kind of almost the easy bit, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
That's the harder bit.
the mindset. But what I also see through forums that I interact with on a personal basis is it is a although the process has got a lot shorter, it still is quite a long process if you're not seeing your child or your children. But one of the great things to see about forums, by the way, which anyone can join, there's loads of different forums out there for people to join, is that the parents that have been in the process for, you know, a considerable amount of time, maybe 6 months or more, you see that switch, that switch of the mind and the mentality and their emotions. Because like you say, it's like a game of chess. You move, they move. And that's how you've got to think about it. I don't like the word game, but I think it's a good way to describe the family court system.
I agree. Paula, yeah, we're also waiting since October to hear whether the court has received Son's application. Oh my God. If we had £1 for every time there is a delay on the court, Gemma, we'd be bloody millionaires by now.
I know. I've got clients that have lodged papers 3 weeks ago, and we haven't even been to a legal advisor to sign it off to get the dates and everything. Unfortunately, again, linked to COVID, the amount of applications that are going through the courts now as a result of the first lockdown in March are huge statistically, and I don't know how correct this is. On average, the court would have a backlog of about 4,000. I read a piece, I think it was in the Law Gazette this week, that says it's now doubled to 8,000. That's the backlog. So again, it's incredibly frustrating that the system is this way, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that right this moment in time.
There isn't. One thing I've been telling people, and Paula, this might help you with yours, is that whenever people are putting forms in, I'm kind of getting them to launch a campaign. I can't think of any other way to put it. To ring the court, chase the court. Will you be on hold for half a day? Probably. Will you be transferred from Department A to Department D? Mm-hmm. Most likely. Yeah. But it just gives you that, okay, now we phone the court. It just constantly chase it. I hope that helps. Katie Louise, yes, I feel like what's going on to determine the outcome of the court, it's the unknown of what Kafkas will take on everything. Yeah.
Kafkas, again, that's maybe another live that we could do. But the best bit of advice I could give anybody when dealing with Kafkas, and again, this isn't mine, it's something that was passed on to me, think about it like a job interview, and it's the most important job you are ever going to get, the highest paid with the best perks. And if you look at it that way, that will allow you to conduct your interview with Kafkas in the best possible way and show yourself in the best possible light.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And Paula's just saying, oh my God, and no one answers the phone. Yeah. So I would, and Paula, don't just limit yourself to phoning, by the way, girl. Email. When I say launch a campaign, I'm not kidding. I am not playing. Email, phone, fax, everything bar pretty much camping outside the court.
And she just asked another question. Paula's just asked another question. Is she allowed to call about her son's application? The short answer is yes, but the long answer is they might not tell you anything because you're not the applicant.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Whilst we're on the subject then of court, smoothly going into what people can do. So if you're in a situation where you've been denied access, or you're coming up to Christmas and you're thinking, oh gosh, this is just not working out. You've tried communication, and let's be real, people that get in touch with us are always at a crossroads. They're either relying on the goodwill of their ex, which is usually gone, or they're going to need help from the court. So if people are in that position and they've got a court order and they just think that Christmas is just not going to happen for one reason or another, what would you say to them?
Well, if you've got a child contact order in place and it isn't being followed, and you are not getting the contact that the courts have granted, because let's bear in mind, they've written the order in the best interest of the child. In most cases, you would like to think that's what happens, not in all, but there you go. You need to put an enforcement in. So you need to be getting your C79 application, filling it in and submitting it to the courts today, because when Christmas comes, along with the backlog and the courts breaking for Christmas, we're going to be going into the new year now. for applications to be seen and heard. That's the reality of it. And also, what I say to my clients is, if you do not put that enforcement application in, you are as good as agreeing with what the other parent is doing. What we stand for, what we stand for and allow will continue.
Yeah, you couldn't have put it. I couldn't have put it any better myself. I think, Gemma, you really hit the nail on the head. Time is of the essence. If any of you are watching this and you take nothing away from our life together, take away this, that time is of the essence. We talk about backlogs. There's articles in the Law Gazette. You hear me and us banging on like a stuck record about how there's a backlog and that timing is everything. So if you need to get in anything now, get it in now. And also, so if there's a court order and you need Christmas to be sorted and you already have the order and the order looks like it's being breached, you're going to need a C79 enforcement application. Of course, if you haven't and you still need help from the court, you might need a specific issues order.
Yeah.
You want to be filling out the 100. Paula, my son is self-employed and cannot be on the phone all day, unfortunately. Yeah, no, I get it. I also work, but I do have days off in the week, so I can do it. I just want to know that we sent it to the right email. If you Google the court, they've got court email address on there. So
and also just to add to that, I know, I don't know whether all courts do this, but certainly the courts I'm dealing with, they will send an automatic response 9 times out of 10 to say they've got the papers that have been lodged. And if there is any anomalies, again, but don't take this as granted. If it's a good court you're dealing with, because they vary, they will email you and say, you sent it to the wrong place, can you send it here? But always follow up with the courts with everything that you put in, be it enforcement orders, C100s, position statements. You need to follow it up.
Yeah, and I think I'm just going to read one more question. I'm very lucky because my ex is Polish, so celebrates Christmas on Christmas Eve. Yeah, that's true, they do. Yeah, so he has the kids then, and I have them for Christmas Day. Helps the situation. Yeah, that does help. Or some people don't celebrate it at all. We've had stuff like that. I think before me and Gemma went live, we were talking about probably the best important advice, and that's if you believe in the 7 P's. And we were trying to remember what those 7 P's were. So can you remember, Gemma?
Did I get it right, first of all, before I say this on live?
I think you did.
So the 7 P's, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. And that's all you need to know. If you're not planning, then you're not getting ahead of the game at the end of the day. Don't wait. Don't put the form in and then wait and think, oh, what am I going to do? Because guaranteed, with the backlog, that letter will land or that email will come, and you'll have to. It'll be listed for the same week, and you won't have prepared for anything.
Yeah,
and it catches people out every single time.
Right. I had a non-molestation a few months ago, and we put the emergency non-mol in. And normally we get a court hearing, and it's maybe a week. My client had 11 minutes notice. So
that's ridiculous.
I know, right? I know. She's like, what do I do?
That's impossible. What happened? What? How did you get around that?
Well, I stopped what I was doing and I went on the call.
Yeah, anything you can do.
But that thing about being prepared, if she wasn't prepared, I mean, don't get me wrong, she was pretty much shitting herself as it was. I mean, 11 minutes notice, I mean, geez. But if she wasn't prepared, then she wouldn't have been able to just go with it. So, I've always said the courts are sometimes nothing if not unpredictable. So you can't tell.
Absolutely. How did they give her that notice, just out of interest? Was it via email?
No, so she sent the application via email. Judge happened, so the department that received it sent it to judge. Judge looked at it and went, I'm the judge dealing with your application.
Oh, was it an emergency? Was it emergency? Yeah. Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And listen, sometimes
I do that to me, Michaela. I was thinking all my other cases were like 11 minutes notice.
No, this was an emergency. But having said that, Christmas is always that time where people are going to need an emergency. Sometimes emergencies happen because life, because COVID, because Christmas. So just kind of putting it out there that if you need an emergency, you want to plan. This is not an episode of Suits. It's not like LA Law, or if you're that old, it's not an episode of Rumpole of the Bailey. the sexiness is not in the glory of the hearing. The sexiness actually is in the preparation, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah. All right, guys, I hope that's been of use to you. We'll be sticking around, so anything that you need, just drop in the comments. All right. If you haven't guessed, okay, Christmas is going to be a real theme as we run up to. Well, the festive season's already here. I got to be honest, my tree and my decks aren't up anyway. Although that will change. Okay, if you want to tune in and hear
this is not to be missed, guys.
and hear how we do an application for a non-molestation order against Santa, get your Grinch outfits on, because that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Those of you that have been with us for years will realize that I've done this before. But I'm going to blow off the cobwebs, dust it down, don my Santa hat, and yeah, making it a little bit fun. All right, so get your Grinch outfits ready, guys. Have an amazing rest of your day. Gemma, as always, an absolute pleasure. If you want Gemma, you definitely want Gemma by your side, then drop her a message. Okay, you want to book her in quick. All right, guys, that's it for now.
Thank you, guys.
Later.
Thank you. Have a good day all. Bye.